You're watching Tech Radar, I'm Basil, and the Huawei P20 Pro is finally official. This thing has been leaked all over the internet for the past few months. 3 cameras around the back. The leaks, they're all true, pretty much down to the pixel count. And boy, what a pixel count. The front, you've got a 24 megapixel selfie camera. Around the back, you've got a 40 megapixel RGB sensor. You've got a 20 megapixel monochrome sensor and an 8 megapixel optical zoom sensor paired with a 2x zoom lens. This thing has more pixels on it than any phone before it. But what about the rest of it? Well, you can see immediately it's a really good looking phone. The curved glass back melds seamlessly into the metal frame and the screen is an OLED display. It's got a notch. The notch houses that 24 megapixel front camera, and below the screen is a fingerprint scanner. You've got a USB-C bottom firing speaker as well, but it is a kind of stereo setup, so it's got that tweeter up at the top. Around the back you've got those 3 cameras, and if you get the Twilight edition, a really good looking gradient from blue to purple, which makes it look really nice and unique, something we don't say about a lot of phones these days. The 6.1-inch OLED screen isn't going to be the sharpest around, but it definitely looks vibrant and punchy, and inside it's Emotion UI 8.1 paired with Android 8. What's cool is that Huawei's integrated some of those AI features it was banging on about when it announced the Kirin 970 into Emotion UI. So for example, this thing can automatically sort through your photos in your gallery, organizing them for you. The rest of Emotion UI looks very similar, with the addition of Face Unlock, which we originally saw introduced to EMUI on the View 10, but this is the first time we've seen it in a Huawei phone. Right, onto that camera around the back, and the 40 megapixel one in particular. This thing fuses pixels together to create a 2 micron pixel size, or the equivalent of. So it's got that 40 megapixel RGB sensor, but it actually takes pictures at 10 megapixel resolution. Paired with that 2x zoom telephoto optically image stabilized camera, Huawei says this can fuse digital and optical zoom as well to create a 5x zoom, and you've also got the monochrome sensor. And we've seen from past Huawei phones that the 20 megapixel monochrome sensor gets perspective information, and it can also just shoot black and white better than an RGB sensor would otherwise be able to. The P20 Pro also has something else very cool, a color temperature sensor. So it should help get the white balance right more often than not. Within the user interface, there are also some smart enhancements. If it detects a face, it can automatically fire up portrait mode, blurring out the background and keeping the foreground nice and sharp. You've also got something called AIS, Artificial Intelligence Stabilization. And what this can do is, even if you handhold a night shot for a couple of seconds, it will still manage to composite the images that it grabs while you've handheld that shot together into something that looks very good, like it was shot on a tripod. With laser autofocus, some new smart scene recognition modes, and 960 frames per second slow-mo, it's really competitive from a photography point of view. But what about the insides? Well, there's a Kirin 970 processor paired with 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. The battery is a whopping 4,000 milliamps in spite of this phone being relatively thin, so it should definitely see you through a full day. Given the Mate 10 Pro was such a good phone across the board, that bodes well for the new Huawei P20. Check back in the next couple of weeks to see if it lives up to its predecessor, as we will post our full review. But in the meantime, hopefully you found this useful. Make sure you check out techradar.com and the YouTube channel in order to find all our coverage of Huawei's latest devices. Thanks for watching.